a 1 in the chat if that makes sense. Put a 1 in the chat. This is no hit and run. This is sell and keep servicing. Sell and keep servicing. So I'm also going to ask you all to, hold on. I'm also going to ask you all to try an exercise today, which is going to be a reverse affirmation challenge. Rack. A reverse affirmation challenge. I'm gonna let you know what I mean by that. I'm not gonna tell you don't do affirmation. I'm gonna tell you to do it a little bit different so that you can challenge yourself here on your sales and your CDLP space, your family plan space, whatever you're selling here. Good. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and get started with our introductions real quick, then we're gonna move into the material. So I'm gonna turn it over to my business partner, my good friend, my co-trainer, Miss Sherranda Ivey. And I will go ahead and welcome people on YouTube while you're doing that. You muted.
All righty, got it.
Hey, I can do it for you. I can't talk in your voice, and I can do your introduction. Go ahead.
No, I was trying to do the link. It was picking up my other link. So good evening, everybody. Good evening. My name is Sherranda Ivey here in Georgia. I'm the CDLP state trainer for Georgia. I've been with Legal Shield. This is our 9th year, and we are 50K ring earners. We are, I don't know where we are, Business Solutions Sapphire. We earned Elite Emerald, but however, we haven't got that for 2022. But we recognized as the Ladies of Justice Field Trainer of the Year. It's 2019, 2020, 2020, one of them. But anyway, we got the LOJ award for that. We've written over 1,000 personal apps, so we have a recognition for that as well. And just chose this as our major here in the CDLP space. I love this industry. Love coming here to continue to learn and to share the information and knowledge that I've learned these past few years. I do host the accountability call on Thursday night. It's a great opportunity to get on and to mastermind with some individuals who are truly doing some amazing things here in Legal Shield. And also we have the upcoming CDLP certification training on Saturday. So for those who hadn't registered, I did put the link in there, and look forward to sharing some phenomenal information on Saturday along with Mr. Alan Roman. So if you've taken a class before, we would love to have you again. I promise you'll learn a lot of stuff. So with that, I'll pass it over. I see John Hoffman's on. So we'll pass it over to John to introduce himself.
Thanks, Rand. Sorry for the late arrival, everybody. I just walked in the door from being in the field all day and was on the road at 5 o'clock this morning, and sat in a trucking yard and talked to as many truckers as I could, and had a lot of good things happen from that. For year end, of course, that's a month end anyway. It's always good to do that activity like that. So it was good. I had my canopy up and giving away my orange socks, and so that was my day today. But I've been in Legal Shield for my 14th year. The focus on the CDLP business, because my corporate job or my own personal business was focused around truckers. So that's why I navigated to that CDLP end of the business, and it fit like a natural, like a pair of old shoes, So I was able to go in there and just go to work right away. Amazing what kind of problems the truckers are having out there. You see what's happening in Canada, when they're doing mandatory vaccines and other They are protesting, and they're surrounding the Capitol. That I guess the Prime Minister of Canada had to leave his residence because he felt threatened by it. But truckers are that important to us. We need to really do what we can to protect them in all ways possible, and that's what our membership does in more ways than one. With our CDLP plan, coupling with a family plan, or if they're owner operators, with a self-employed plan also too. So that's the beauty of this membership, is that you get to combine it with a lot of other memberships too at the same time, and because it makes it even more powerful. All right, so thank you very much, Sherranda, for allowing me to step in real quick. I'm going to go off video so I can eat my soup my wife just prepared for me, and I'll listen the rest of the way.
Awesome. Dunbar, I don't think nobody else is. Oh, let me see. So over to you, Robert Dunbar. I don't see anybody else. Dunbar.
I was trying to get them. There was some people that were trying to get let in. I was trying to get that done. All right, guys. So hopefully you guys have the PDF. I am going to pull it up on the screen. So we're going to be talking a little bit about our system, which is research, reach out, and relationship. And that is something that I know all the trainers are doing, not in that necessary system, but just naturally and organically. This is what they're doing to build their business in the CDLP space. So I'm just breaking it down this way, just so you all can have a better understanding. And maybe sometimes, when we do the abbreviation, sometimes they help a little bit more when you're out in the field and saying, hey, what should I be doing? How should I be prospecting? So that's what we're going to be talking about. What you should be doing first when it comes to going after companies. So I mentioned last week that the sales process has changed a little bit, not in Legal Shield, but all over the world. The process has changed a little bit. And when I say the process has changed, what I mean by that is, when you're going to sell, it used to be a world where it would be, we used to call it buyer beware, right? So it would be the seller knew all the information, and you can talk to people, and I could tell you whatever I wanted to tell you. You just had to believe that was the case, and you bought it. And I knew more information, so I could sell it to you however I wanted to, and you just had to trust the salesperson in that experience. Well, in the internet age, we know that sometimes it's a little bit of seller beware, because the buyers can look up so much information before they contact us, or if you tell them there's a problem, they can pull that problem themselves and they can go find a solution without you, which means you don't make your sale. Does that make sense, guys? Put a 2 in the chat if that makes sense. So we have to wrap our mind around the changes in the industry and say, wait a minute. If a person can go and find a solution to their problem without me and without my product, then how do I make sales and how do I make money? That's the question you have to ask yourself. And the answer is, you have to find the problem. You have to be the person to find that problem. And in the CDLP space, how do we find the problem? We find the problem by doing research, right? Everybody type research in the chat so I know that you woke and you hear what we're talking about, right? You have to do research. So if anybody has even attempted to do a 3-way call with me, with a trucking company, or a DM appointment with a trucking company, you know that I will tell you no if there has not been any research done. Because I won't talk to companies that I don't know the information about, because I don't feel comfortable talking to a prospect in a space of CDL when I don't know anything about the company. And I'm not talking about what they haul. I'm not talking about whether they have flatbeds or 18-wheelers, right? Those things are important, but I'm talking about what kind of issues are they having, or are they having any issues at all? Right? Because they may not be having any issues at all. And if they're not, that's fine if you want to prospect a company that doesn't have any issues, but you should know that they don't have any issues. So you always want to research your prospect so you can find the problem. And then while you're on the phone, you can now, or walking in, you can now do what? You can solve the problem that you found not walk away and let them solve it on their own by calling another company that does the same thing you do, or not following up properly, like you heard last week with Mr. Frazier, and somebody else coming in behind you and solving the problem that you find. You don't want that to happen either. What you want to happen is you want to go into a company, already know what the issue is, say, did you know, right? You know their insurance is going sky high because what? They're taking bad hits. You can see it on their safety report. So you know that the insurance is taking a hit. You know that their DOT score is taking a hit. You know that they've got bad drivers or bad vehicles or both. So there's a problem, and you find that problem and you find that solution for them, right? The problem could be they're fighting their tickets with an attorney or citation of violations, but they're not data queued, right? So if we spoke to that company and I said, hey, Miss Sherranda, I see you guys have got some violations and stuff in the back, like, who are you guys using for an attorney? And Sherranda says, oh no, we got this great attorney, and she tells you all this great stuff about her law firm that she's using. And then I'll say, well, Miss Sherranda, let me ask you a question. When your attorney is fighting those traffic tickets and those citations and violations, are you guys data queuing them? And she says, well, no, I haven't really had the time to data queue anything. I keep saying I'm gonna do it, but I haven't done it yet. But we'll get to it. And I say, well, you do understand that the attorney that you're paying to fight all those moving violations is not really benefiting you guys positively because you're not data queuing. And Sherranda doesn't know this. She doesn't know that when she beats the ticket or gets it reduced, that it doesn't reflect that way automatically without her data queuing. And she thinks data queuing is something that she can do later on, and it doesn't matter right now. So what did I just do when I did that? I found the problem. And now that I found the problem, I can now deal with helping her solve the problem, which gets me a sale. You guys follow that? Yes or yes? Put a 3 in the chat. So the reason why we need to do research is because we want to make sure that we understand what's going on with the company. So what you'll see here on this sheet, and the link for the sheet is in the chat. So if you're gonna say, I don't see the PDF, I don't know where it's at, guess what? It's in the chat and it's in your email. So it says success in the CDLP sales process, right? Understanding the process of sales is the key to an increase in conversion rate. Like any sales process in a specific industry, research is mandatory. Let's look at the TBD research, reach out, and relationship system. So do your research and make sure you understand how to find the problems that your prospect clients may be experiencing. So for those that don't know where to do research at, where to find trucking companies and where to research their scores and safety and all that stuff, I put those links right here. So if you click on any of these, it'll take you directly to the place. So you don't have to say, how do I get to Safer? How do I get to FMCSA? How do I get to truckdriver.com? If you click on truckdriver.com, it will open up directly to truckdriver.com, just like that, right? If you click on Safer Web, it will open up to Safer, and all you have to do is put the DOT number, the MCM number in there, or the name of the company, right? And put this bullet point on whichever one you planning on doing, right? If I say I want to go to FMCSA and check some things out, you're just going to click FMCSA website, and it is going to take you directly to FMCSA. And now you can go in there and do whatever you need to do there at fmcsa.gov. So all of those links are there for you to take advantage of. And now you don't have to worry about where you're going to get them from because they're going to be on your sheet right here, right? So on research, what do we want to do? We want to go to truckdriver.com, find some trucking companies, and then do some research. If you already have trucking companies that you already say, look, I got a list already, but I want to research them, we're going to go in there and research those companies. So we'll talk a little bit about the research, but before we get into any of the research, I'm going to open it up to Sherranda to see if she has anything to add to the research process and why it's important to research and all of that great stuff. Ms. Sherranda Ivey.
No, research is important though, because, having those general conversations with people can be, it's just hard. You fishing, because most people on the call are using the script, Lamar script, some form or fashion, right? So if you if you don't have, if you don't have the research in place, then you are saying things that may not apply to that particular company. And the company will say things such as, well, we don't have those problems, or, what safety scores are you talking about? So, but if you have the information there and you are good, you've researched the company and you know how to have that conversation with them, now you can have as we say, a conversation. And when they ask those questions, you're not stuck. It doesn't become hard to maneuver through that process. So research is important. I mean, I've done it both ways. Before I learned how to research, it was a hard sell. Like, it was a hard thing to maneuver through. But when I was taught from this platform, then I knew how to maneuver through that conversation, and it became really easy. So it's very important.
Hey, John, you have anything you want to add to that? I don't know whether you're eating still over there or not, but
Well, I'm done eating. If I quickly gobble that down, but yeah, research is like it's like sharpening your axe, And the nice thing about the CDLP market is that the research you do always remains fluid. Okay, these trucking companies, things change overnight, so they might not be your best prospect at this time, but if you keep checking on them, you see that things change in these trucking companies. It allows you to go back in. And a lot of times this is just a timing thing where you might see when something happens and all of a sudden you see they had a fatality, or they had a accident that resulted in a citation in another state. And you see those things and you go back, it gives you reason to go back and call on these companies. So that's why the research is so important, and keep the research updated, because these trucking companies are like, things are very fluid with what's happening. And these trucking companies, where they can change overnight, and they'll just allow you to go back in and talk to them some more, and maybe educate them some more. It's like I think last week Sherranda said she had some companies that did not know they were out of service. So you're able to go back in and say, "Hey, did you know you're out of service? I saw one today that was out of service because they refused an audit." That's the first time I ever saw that tag on a trucking company, and I called them. I said, you can't go out of state. You better tell your truck not to cross that state line. And they did not know that. So that's the nice thing about doing your research and keeping it always up to date and checking back on it, because these trucking companies will eventually have something happen in their trucking life that's going to allow you to go back in and talk to them. Okay.
Good stuff. So how many of you all on the line right now would go work for a company without doing research? If you will work for a company without doing research, put a 4 in the chat. No way, right? How many of you all would join a company like a Legal Shield or any other network marketing company or some other side gig? How many of you all would join something like that without, again, without literally doing any research? Put a 4 in the chat. Nobody, right? Nobody, right? So when we're going out to prospect, it doesn't make a lot of sense to go after a company and just decide that you're not going to do any research. So let's look a little bit here at some of the research. Let me go ahead and bring this down and go back to my sheet and go to Safer. And I guess I need somebody give me a DOT number, because I don't want to just go to a random company. Anybody have a company they want me to throw in here?
I can give you a number.
Okay, come on. Let's do it.
213-2649.
right. All right. So Coach Freight Inc., right? And what I realize a lot, I'll get a phone call from somebody and I'll say, did you pull a company up? And they say, yeah. And I say, well, what did you see? Oh, they got 173 drivers. I say, what else? And they don't have no more information because you're only going to search the company to see how many drivers it got because you're trying to count how much money you're going to make on this deal. No actual research. All you want to know is how many drivers they have because you want to know how big the company is.
Just send them an email, you leave that
right?
blank.
And guys, that's not a good deal. You don't want to do that. What you want to do is you want to make sure that you're pulling the company information. Make sense? Oh, let me get this mute. I'm sorry, guys. Give me 1 second. One second.
Is that you, Anthony?
Yes, that's me. Where?
Oh, that's Anthony.
Not
Okay,
talking.
you good. I
Is
got
that
talking
somebody in your room?
So, and don't mind me, guys. I know I'm looking in another direction, guys, but it's because I got a bigger screen here, so don't worry about that. So, looking at this company, right? I can see the address. I can see how many units they have, how many drivers they have. Now, I'm gonna do this quick. I'm not gonna spin a whole because that's not what we want to do the whole call. Power units, 40, drivers, 40. So they got just as many vehicles as they have drivers, right? I see that they're authorized for hire, right? I see that they're interstate, right? They're interstate, not interstate, right? That means that they're highly likely over the road. I see that they do general freight, they do fresh produce, and they do meat, right? Refrigerated food and paper products. That's what they're moving. Obviously, they have refrigerated trucks that they're driving for the most part. And here, right, if I go all the way down to the bottom, I see nothing for Canada. So I'm gonna come back up here, and I'm seeing that the national average for vehicle is 21.07, and for them, they're at 5%. Excuse me. The vehicle for out of service is 39.1, and then the vehicle for, the national average for the actual national average is 21, and theirs is 39, and the national average for drivers 5, and they're at 1. So when I look at this, even before I get to the FMCSA website, what is this telling me, right? Before I even move there, guys, throw it in the chat. If you looked at this by itself, what does this tell you if you're doing research? Before you even go to the next page, what is this telling you about the company? Throw it in the chat. They need help. They have ticket issues. Maintenance. I see you, Tyson. Lots of truck issues. George, good one. I love it. They need help. Vehicles are the biggest issue. Valeria. Maintenance. Anthony Norris. Good stuff. That's their vehicles, right? So what is it saying, right? So most of the people put the correct answer here. We see that the drivers aren't the problem for the company. The vehicles are in this situation. So the drivers are under the national average, and the vehicles are almost double the national average. Almost double the national average. So we know, right? We found the problem. Now, they may already know this, but we found the problem. The problem is their vehicles. So we know that going in before we even go anywhere else. So where are we going to go from here? We're going to go over here to SMS results. We're going to click. Sherranda, you want to add anything before I click? Sorry about that.
No.
You good?
I'm good.
All right. So SMS results, we're going to click there. We're going to come here. So for those that took if anybody took the CDLP certification in the last few months, or remember us talking about the 7 deadly sins, if you remember the 7 deadly sins, put a 5 in the chat. That's what these are, guys. Remember the 7 deadly sins? Unsafe driving, crash indicator, hours of service, vehicle maintenance, controlled substance abuse, right? Hazardous material and driver fitness. If you, for any reason, was looking for just any particular, right, infraction that covered a certain area, you would go here, right? So what did we say the problem was, guys? Vehicle. Everybody type it in there. Everybody type it in there. Vehicle. Everybody. We felt like the vehicle was the issue. So if I wanted to really dumb down on that, if I wanted to really specifically dumb down on that, I can go right here to vehicle maintenance, right? And click on vehicle maintenance and take a look at some things that got to do with the vehicle maintenance. You guys follow that? I can take a look at that because I know that that's where the issues are at. You guys follow? So I know that they're having issues with vehicle maintenance. Look at this, vehicle maintenance violations, 39. Vehicle inspections, 25. If I want to look at everything, I'm gonna come down here to complete SMS. Click on it. Got it all here. We got it all here, right? Look at that. Look at all that vehicle maintenance. See that? So if you scroll down here, all of these, look at all this vehicle maintenance. And that's just the summary. We come down here, we can see the out of service in bronze or brown or gold, or whatever color you want to call that, right? Out of service, 6 plus 2, 2 more, 2 plus 2, 2 plus 2, 1 plus 2. And what do we do, guys? We like to stay in the threes. So somebody type in the chat, why do we like to stay in the threes? All the way on the right-hand side, you see these threes, guys? Why do we like to stay in the threes? Somebody put it in the chat. Serious violations. That's not what I'm looking for. Most recent. There we go. There we go.
For recent
violation. Yeah, there we go. Current. So the answer is the people who got the correct answer are current. So the ones that got a 3, they happen within the last 6 months, correct, Sherranda?
Yeah.
They happen within the last 6 months. So if you go down to the 3s, you see where it stops here? Look at that, 6/11. Look at the last 3, 7/2021. So we want to stay in the 3s because that means they happened in the last 6 months. So it's doing the most damage to the company. Because after 6 months, it falls off. It's not as serious. A third of the pain that is caused in the company, the sting that is causing disappears after the first 6 months. A third of it leaves for the company. So you want to stay in those 3s because those are going to be the hot issues, right? So we're finding the problem here and we're looking for things that are violations that we can talk about when we're having a conversation with them. Does that make sense? Everybody put a 6 in the chat if that makes sense. Now, again, we're gonna save research for another day. That's not what we're doing today. I just wanted you guys to kind of see what we're doing here, making sure staying in the 3s, identifying what the violation, we're finding the problem, guys, doing research and finding the problem so we have something to talk about. And we're not throwing this at them. We're not talking about this like a bad report card to a kid. We're having a conversation with how can we work with you to assist you. We are here to help. We found the problem, so now we want to talk about fixing it. Sherranda, anything?
Nope, that's good. Yeah.
John, anything?
No, that's perfect. If you notice on the top of that, there was actually a citation changed to another score, a conviction to a different charge right there. So that's a prime guy to go after.
Now where at? So I can make sure I got it on the right place.
It's
You're
right
right there.
You're right there.
Okay,
Stick.
good.
In the summary.
Gotcha. So guys, this is why it's important. And on the right-hand side, you see where it says unsafe driving, HOS compliance. This is where the 7 deadly sins are written at. Whichever one of the 7 deadly sins that violation is, that's what's on the right-hand side. Driver fitness, vehicle maintenance, HOS compliance. HOS means hours of service, for those that don't know, right? So we want to do our research on the company, and we want to go to truckdriver.com to pull companies. So John, if you don't mind letting them know how to, pulling companies on truckdriver.com so that they'll have an idea on, for those that don't know where any companies are at to begin with. Do you want to share your screen, or you want me to pull it up and you just talk about it real quick? What would you like me to do?
You can talk about it a little bit. I don't really use truckdriver.com. I use another source for it, but
okay.
truckdriver.com.
What's the other source? We can use the other source. It don't matter.
Well, Quick Transport Solutions works for pretty much the same way.
Okay, and we've talked about that before on here, and we'll throw that in the chat too. So Quick Transport. You want to share your screen, or you want me to pull it up?
No, you can pull it up.
All right. Quick Transport Solutions.com.
And on that, you can do a search by U.S. companies. There's U.S. trucking companies.
U.S. trucking companies. Where we at?
On the left-hand side, the left-hand column.
Left-hand column, U.S. trucking companies, right here?
Right there, yeah.
All right, so under trucking companies, guys, U.S. trucking companies.
And then go to the right to the Reddit column there and do search trucking companies, about the 4th one down from the top.
Search trucking companies. Write this down, guys.
You can do by search by city, state, or company name. So you can search by zip code. You can search by DOT.
Zip code. So if I throw a zip code in there,
there you go.
There you go. So I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. So I'll put a zip code in Jacksonville, Florida. Page 1 of 561 results.
There you go. 561 prospects. Yep.
561 prospects. Excellent, excellent. So if you're trying to figure out where you're going to get prospects from, you see what it has here? DOT number, MC number. So you can pull that DOT number and put it in there. And John, is that DOT number accurate most of the time?
The DOT number is accurate most of the time. A lot of times the information on this is not current to the FMCSA site, where a company might actually be out of business, but so it might be reflected on here. But yeah, the numbers are all accurate, and then you insert this into the Safer Assist site, and then you do your research from there.
Good stuff. So you're going to take that DOT number, drop it in the Safer system that we pulled up the first time, and then start researching the company. And if it's not a prospect, if the information don't match because they're no good or whatever the case may be, that's all part of prospecting, guys. Like, that's what prospecting is. So that's where that's at. Sherranda, anything?
No, if you wanted to go to truckdriver.com, we can go there.
Okay. So truckdriver.com is another place. So Sherranda is going to take us through that one.
Okay, go all the way down to the bottom. Keep going. To the directory. DOT Trucking Company Directory.
DOT Trucking Company Directory. Where's that at?
In the black, yeah, down here.
All right, DOT Trucking Company Directory. So in the bottom black space under for truck drivers, you got DOT Trucking Company Directory.
So you can pull it up here. You got by state. Click on the state.
All right, so I'm gonna click on Florida.
Okay, now you have all by the numbers and alphabetical order.
Mm.
So you can just pick one, click on it. got the hyperlink so that you click on the USDOT number. You have a lot of information right there too, you know, the number of trucks and read up on the company right there, address. But you can click on the DOT number, it take you straight to Safer.
So for those that didn't see what happened, because I had my bar up here hidden. When I clicked on the DOT number, guys, it took me directly to Safer with the company's information. Took me directly to Safer, where we were at for the other company that we put up with Mr. Norris, right? You see here, they've got 0 and 0, so they've only had one inspection. So they're not in any trouble, but I know some people still go after companies that's not in trouble. I think Sherranda, you actually go after companies that's not in trouble, don't you?
That could mean they're a brand new company too.
Yeah, I go after new entry. That's what I focused on last year.
So Sherranda goes after new companies, 10 drivers, 10 units. You gonna say something, John?
I go after all of them now. It used to be a time where I wouldn't go after new entry because, you know, most of them were, you know, they were good. They didn't really have a lot of violations.
So
But,
where's the new entry at? Where does it say that?
that's another training.
Oh, okay. I mean, I thought it was like,
That's
Okay.
another training. We
You
have
mean
to
how-
do some clicks. Yeah, that's another training. We just trying to, right now, I mean, like I said, when I first started, we look for companies with problems. So that's what, if you're new to this and you're not well versed in it, stick with the ones that have the problems because that's what we teach here. Okay, I mean, and after a while, you know, we're familiar where you can have not better conversation, but more conversation with those individuals that don't have bad, because now you got to figure out the conversation to have with a new entry audit versus one that has problems. So we're gonna stick with the ones that have problems because that's what we focused on training here.
okay.
Yeah, and remember, you want to find the problem. So again, you're finding the problem, and if it's a company that has no problems, then you, for the most part, that eliminates that option of you being able to come in and help that way. So when we do a training on what Sherranda's talking about, which is how she goes after companies, then she can go into more detail on that at that time. So that's how you go to truckdriver.com and find companies too. So that's your research, guys, there. And there's some links and the quick transport. I don't know whether somebody put that in the chat.
I did. I put it in there.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So the next thing, guys, is reach out. Reach out. That's the next hour. Reach out because you've done your research, and a lot of times we start researching, and what do? Research, and then we stop. Then you pull all these companies, you got all this information, and then once you do that, it's like, what do I do now? Well, you have to start calling. You have to start reaching out. And if you need to use the blitz to get the courage to start reaching out, then you can start reaching out using the blitz so that you start getting used to making calls. It feels like you've got other people making calls while you're making calls. So that will help your courage level or your posture if you make calls during the blitz, because now everybody's doing it as momentum. You're seeing other people make calls. So if you don't make calls at all and you're saying, hey, I'm trying to get a workout partner, I'm trying to get help. Well, the blitz is a workout partner. Do the blitz, and that can be, you can do it on that day starting, and then you can start moving into some other days. So you want to either walk in and educate them, or you want to call and educate them. But education is the key, whether you're walking in or calling, right? You want to give education when you reach out. You don't want to reach out and just ask for the sale. Reach out and ask for the sale. And that's one of the things that we do that can really make people go the other direction, right? They back up because sometimes it's too aggressive. Sometimes you have to call and educate people. That's why it's important to find the problem. So if you find the problem, now you've got something to educate them on. So if you're saying, hey, what can I give them, right? That's what these prospecting tools are here for. So I've put these prospecting tools out there before. I know everybody doesn't have them, so I put them on a sheet. It's a tool you can just use to just prospect, right? Or to ice break, right? I use them as icebreakers. So I'm gonna click on each one of them, so that you guys can see what they are. Most of you guys have downloaded them before, so y'all know that they're there. This is the, and I got a lot of people that have contacted me and say, hey, you only got the male or the female here. And it's like, no, you get an email with both of them, but you got to check your email. So when you click this and to go download it, you get an email that comes to you that has both flyers, the male and the female. So when you click on that, if you don't remember seeing that email, click on it again. And when you click on it this time, look for the email. If you don't see it, check your spam or check the other areas of your email. But the email definitely comes in this. It gives you both the male and the female version of the results of the brake inspection, which is a way for you to educate, give that trucking company something, have something to talk about when you call, other than just their score, other than just what you see going on their DOT, right? And this is the other one, which is the fillable, the ELD deal. Or again, you don't need to know about this stuff. Don't try to talk about it. Don't try to learn it, guys. We can't fix it. I think Sherranda mentioned this 2 or 3 weeks ago. We can't fix this. This is just a conversation piece. These are conversation pieces so that you can say, hey, did you know about it? It just is able for you to start the conversation. It's a good way for you to start the conversation. Everybody understand that? Put a 7 in the chat if you understand that. Put a 7 in the chat, right? So these are just two pieces of material that you can use, right? They're on the flyer. Just click on them. But it's a way for you to do what? Reach out, right? Reach out and educate them. Either have that flyer with you along with your clipboard and the other information you want to give out. Some of you guys are using the adjudication citation form that we have. Whatever you're going to use, but have an icebreaker, have a way to reach out, right? Have a way to reach out to these people. And guys, please put it on your calendar. That's how you move from I wrote this down to activity. So when you're saying, hey, look, I did my research, after you do your research, put it on your calendar to either walk in or call or get involved, right? Put it on your calendar to get involved with the blitz if you need that, right? So what I'm gonna do is real quick, and you can make this short or long, Sherranda, it's up to you. You can mention it real quick or however you want to do it. But people constantly ask me, right? And I'm sure they're asking you too, oh, should I get a phone burner to make my phone calls? And I'm like, I wouldn't get a phone burner if you can't have 50 prospects to get a phone burner. You can. I just don't think it's a good use of your money to pay for a phone burner and you only got 50 prospects. So you don't need a phone burner to make calls, but Sherranda Ivey uses a phone burner. So I wanted to have her talk about it because she can talk about how she uses it and things of that nature. So Sherranda Ivey.
Well, I only use it because of, to getting the dials in. Maybe I don't have an hour here, an hour there. But no, for the most part, I don't even use a phone burner on the blitz. I don't. I really don't. So my numbers that you see, I'm dialing, but if some days I'm busy and I haven't got my calls in. And some days I use it too to take away the anxiety of making the dials because I cold call. So that's why I use the phone burner, but I don't use it every day. So no, and if you only have 50 prospects, no. Phone burner will burn through some calls, meaning everything is automated. So no, a lot of stuff we'll say on these calls, but if you're not there yet, don't mess with that. You'll know when you need help making dials or want to connect to make more dials. So I won't talk long on that because I just don't think people are there yet to do that. I wouldn't invest in it because it's not cheap. For one, phone burner is expensive. I think the lowest plan is like $99, but it's expensive. I think it might be $150. I'm not sure, but however, it's not a cheap thing to do. And so you got to make sure that you're spending your money. And maybe you have money to do that. I don't know. But I wouldn't advise anybody to do that unless you're really trying to bang out a whole lot of calls. because you got to put them in the phone burner. You got to research them. You got to set up the phone burner. You got to do a lot of things. So I just I don't recommend it unless you really are going to burn through a lot of the hours. So that's my take on it. I will go back though, and this is off of you were saying with the tools. Somebody had posted when we were looking at the SAFER report that I don't know how to pronounce that, something Topaz, say folks need to be doing their pre-trips. So I don't know your history or how much you know about transportation, but those are the things you can talk to your people about in conversation. So if you know that, oh, that means that if they would have did that in a pre-trip inspection, like if they would have checked their trucks prior to that, maybe they would have caught that problem. So that's the things you talk to the safety person or the owner about. Have conversations with them. Say, you know, I got your report. Say, are you having your drivers do pre-trips, or are your drivers doing pre-trips? You know, those are things. If you know that language, if you're not, look at a SAFER report and say, wow, if they had just did their pre-trip, that they might have caught that in the pre-trip. Those are the types of things. Educate your carriers, because a lot of times they're thinking their drivers are doing pre-trips and post-trip inspections, and they're not. And so if you can bring that to their attention, oh, this is what they got written up for, because a lot of owners don't know. So that's a good, a good leadway, a good icebreaker, just to educate them if you know that language. So I hope that helps. I will say too, Topaz, I don't know how to pronounce your name, and I apologize. Don't find yourself going down a rabbit hole too. I mean, tap on a few things, but don't get trapped. And don't make false promises of what we can do with these violations, because we're not the transportation attorneys, and those violations, those things, the attorneys decide how that is handled. And, so make sure you understand that. Nancy Wolf asked, should we ask for a safety manager of an owner? We've been over this 1,000 times, guys. You ask, you figure out who you want to ask for. The smaller the company, most likely you're asking for you're going to speak with the owner. Do you want to say, may I speak with the owner? That's up to you. Because, some small companies do have what they call safety directors. Most of them don't, but some of them do. So you have to figure out who to ask for. At this point in the training, I mean, you can kind of figure that out, and you make that decision yourself, depending on how big a company you're prospecting. That's what I'll say about that.
And I would say the safest thing to do if you don't know. So if you're saying, well, I don't know, or whatever your scenario may be, the safest thing to say is, if you don't know, is who handles the DOT violations and citations at this company. Because what I do know that I have done before is I'll say, can I talk to the safety manager? And the safety manager doesn't handle that. Sometimes the safety manager don't handle that. I don't know why their company is set up that way, and it's not my business. I just know that I need to be speaking to the correct decision maker. And sometimes it is the owner. So sometimes, like Sherranda saying, the owner will say, well, I'm the owner, I handle that. Because the owner is handling violations and citations, they handling safety, they own the company, they doing the hiring and firing, depends on the size of the company. So ask for who handles that, because that's what you're coming for. So if you're coming there, right, the same way if you walk into a regular company, right? You want to know who handles the benefits. If you're coming in to do benefits, right? Who handles the benefits at this company, right? Because you may say, oh, can I speak to the HR manager? I've actually gone to companies and the HR manager is not the person they have me talk to when it comes to the benefits. So it depends on how that company is. Sometimes they have a different title for the person that handles the benefits. that you're going to meet with. So always ask for the person that handles what you need. And what you need when you're going, if you're going in based on what we're talking about, is who handles the citations and violations at this company. We want to see if we can have a conversation about blah, 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 or we want to see if we can set an appointment for 15 minutes so we can discuss blah, 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 blah. You know, whatever you're going to do, or you're going to do the Lamar Reynolds script, whatever you're going to do. But whoever handles citations and violations, that is who I will be speaking to on that. Good stuff. And last but not least is relationship. Guys, just start building a relationship from day one. Start building a relationship from day one, guys. It's very, 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 very important. So assist in solving the problem that you found. Send information on changes in the industry. And where you can do that by subscribing to Freight Waves. That's what that is right there. I subscribe to different trucking and transportation websites that send information that changes that are happening. All of the changes are obviously always on FMCSA. So put it on your schedule to go to FMCSA and pull the different changes that's happening. Because again, even if they know already, you're being an educational resource. The last one says befriend the drivers and the gatekeeper. When I was walking in companies on a regular basis, any conversation I can have with the drivers, I would. If when I stood outside, I saw 2 or 3 drivers walking up, I would just start talking with them, like kind of kicking it with them, you know, building a relationship with them. If you go to the place and there's a gatekeeper there, make friends with the gatekeeper. Bring him or her some lunch, right? Depending on the size of the company. Some companies, I've gone to some companies that were so big before that they don't allow you to bring the gatekeeper or anything. They don't let you bring people's stuff because they don't want you soliciting in that way. Depends. But if you're going after smaller companies like what we talk about doing here, befriend the gatekeeper, bring that person something, right? Ask them, do they drink coffee or whatever, and say, hey, where you get your coffee from? Because I'm when I come by here next week to get a hold of Sherranda, I'm probably gonna stop by the coffee place. Is there any particular coffee you like? What coffee place do you go to? You know, Starbucks, whatever. Oh, I love to have the blah, 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 blah. Bring that coffee back, guys. Those things literally do work. Befriend that gatekeeper, because that is the person stopping you from getting to the gate. I mean, to the HR rep or the safety manager or whoever you're trying to get to 15-minute meeting with. The gatekeeper is doing that. So you want to make sure that you build relationships with these people. Don't go in there and all you're trying to do is sell, 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 sell. You don't want to do that. Right? So build relationships. Seriously. Sherranda?
No, yeah, absolutely. I mean, I don't know. It's just something about trucking. They'll talk to you. And definitely if you come from the anger of that, what I was supposed to say? The anger. Oh, that what word I was fixing to use. But anyway. Angle, yeah, angle, that's the word.
Somebody listen.
Yeah, thank you there, Michael. Angle, yeah. Of helping, they will conversate with you. And they'll tell you what you're really looking for. I've built my entire business, mostly off referrals, and the cold calls turned to relationship building calls because I'm just really trying to connect. So it's really good. It's really good to just help them, just share some stuff. You'll be surprised exactly how much they don't know. And I always say most of the time, we know more than they do. So you definitely want to come from that angle, thank you, of helping them. So that'll be great. Just whatever, just sharing some information with them about the industry, just asking them some questions about their company. They always want to talk about, how bad or how good it is. So if you can just be a listening ear, you'll be surprised at how much they'll tell you. So, but yeah, definitely go out and make a friend. Definitely go out and make a friend. Or see what their problems are. That's another good thing. a problem outside of what you think you can offer them and go out and find a person who can help them with that. And you'll be surprised at how hot that relationship gets, because now they see that you bring value to them. So that's what I have.
All right, so I asked everybody about doing this challenge. You guys still hear me? Okay, I want to make sure I'm muted. About doing this challenge, so I'm gonna end with that, and I want you guys to try something here. Let me drop this here real quickly on. All right, so people that's on YouTube, I just dropped the link in there for the PDF. I'm sorry I didn't do that. I don't know what I was thinking about. So the reverse affirmation challenge. I want you guys to do something. This is going to be a psychological change for you guys. So how many of you guys are doing affirmations in the morning, right? How many of you guys, before you make calls or before you start your day, you're getting in the mirror and you're saying, say you got a DM appointment and you're getting in the mirror and you're like, I got this, right? I know I'm gonna kill it. I know I'm gonna get my appointment. Like, how many people do that in the mirror before you go out, right? I want you to try a technique, right? So I did a little bit of research on some behavior, because I'm doing some behavior training stuff right now. And we're at a point where we're talking about challenging yourself so that you can see whether or not you have everything in place. Because when you guys have heard me talk about affirmations before, one of the things that I don't like about affirmations is that we can sometimes lie to ourselves and fool ourselves into believing that something is in existence that maybe not. So the problem when you say, I've got this appointment, I'm gonna kill this appointment, I'm gonna get my 15-minute appointment, I'm gonna do a great job on this presentation, is if you don't have your stuff in order, you don't get it in order because you've told yourself you have it in order. Does that make sense? Everybody put 8 in the chat. So what the reverse affirmation challenge is not me saying that you don't have confidence in yourself, but I want you to do this. When you get in the mirror, instead of you saying, I got this, I'm gonna kill this, I want you to ask yourself, do you? So you can second check whether you have everything. So if I'm going to meet with Sherranda and she's a safety manager of a logistics company, and I'm getting in the mirror and I'm doing my affirmations before I go, I say to myself, instead of, I got this, I say, are you ready for this appointment? That's what I say to myself. Are you ready for this appointment? And what does that get my mind doing? It gets my mind triggered to say, am I ready for this appointment? Do I have everything in my folder? Right? Do I have my folder? Do I have my clipboard? Did I do research on the company? Do I have, is my GPS ready to get me there? Am I leaving on time? Do I have the appointment on my calendar? All those different things. So sometimes you want to ask yourself, as opposed to just confirming that you have everything in place, because again, your brain won't work on things if you tell your brain you have it in place already. So if I say I have everything in place, but I really don't, then I don't get the things in place that I don't have in place. And believe me when I tell you, they will not magically be in place because you say that. If you've got something out of place and you say it's in place and it's not, it's going to be out of place. But if you ask yourself that question before you go, if you get in the mirror and say, am I ready to present this to Sherranda? Right? Am I ready to show Sherranda the value that Legal Shield brings to this company? If you ask yourself that instead of confirming that you have it in place, it now makes you think. Do you have everything in place? Do you have everything that you need? Do you have your conversation ready? Are you ready to keep this to 15 minutes? Right? Does that make sense, everybody? Put a 9 in the chat if it makes sense. So I want you to try this reverse affirmation challenge just to make sure you do a last systems check. Because you imagine if every pilot that was flying a plane just got in that plane and was like, man, I got this, and just took off, boy, it'd be a whole bunch of us dead. That's why they do a system check. That's why they do all of these checks before the plane pull. That's why other people check behind other people to make sure, because you can't afford for something to go wrong in the air because you confidently just thought you had everything in place. You guys follow that? So I want you guys to keep doing your affirmations. I'm not saying don't do affirmations. All I'm saying is do a reverse affirmation challenge, and sometimes don't tell yourself you've got something in place. ask yourself if you have something in place, because that may help you get it in place if you don't, or realize that something's missing out of your deal. So with that being said, I'm going to turn it over to Sherranda, make sure she got any closing comments before we go. I know she got a training this week that she may want to talk about. I know somebody asked about your Thursday accountability call, so I'm gonna turn it over to you.
Okay. So the accountability call, there's a link, I think still under announcements on the CDLP page. You can register for that there, and you'll get an email, so you'll have the information to get on. Also, we do have a CDLP training on Saturday with Alan Roman. I don't think I have the link here anymore, but you could go to the Facebook page and
I'll put it in there while you're talking.
Okay. And register for that class. I'll be talking about, I tried to do a live tonight. I think I did it in the Facebook group. But anyway, we'll be talking, I'll be talking about a lot of the changes that's going to be happening in the industry starting on the 7th, and how we can take advantage of making sure we have those conversations with those carriers and drivers out there in the market, so we can help them protect their CDLs or their commercial license. All of them don't have CDLs, so they're commercial license. So the registration for that will close on Friday evening, probably about 3:00 Central. But if I was you, I'd register early as possible, because when corporate closes that down, there's no way you can get in. It's nothing like corporate is controlling training now. So when they cut it off, the deadline, that's it. There's no options to get in. So if you've already registered, make sure you get your link prior to. If you haven't seen your link, say by Friday at 1:00 or 2:00, I would maybe try to connect with Training or Solutions, so you can make sure you get your link if you've already registered. So with that, so I hope to see you guys on there. We have the Blitz on tomorrow. So you want to, get your list together so you can get on and make some dials. We have some great training prior to and after. So if you can get on, definitely get on so you can, get some training, and check your emails. Those who are Business Solutions certified, you should be getting a newsletter from the Solutions Department on what's going on in Solutions. So check your email for that. And if I have an opportunity, no, I'm not gonna do that. So anyway, check your email for that. And there's a lot of great information in there, links, all kinds of stuff. The next expo, things you can share, links. So you don't have to go in your resources and try to find all that. Everything is right there for you. So if you haven't received that, maybe you can sign up to receive those newsletters on the solution side. And that comes on Monday evenings. Okay. So with that, that's all I have. You have anything, John?
Much fun. You took all my time. You said it all. Thank you very much.
No. You hungry. You want to go get the rest of that food. That's what's wrong.
Good stuff. All right, guys. So we appreciate you guys sticking with us again for another evening. I hope you guys got something out of this training. Hope it helps you organize your sales process a little bit better when you go out and talk to these trucking companies, so that you can increase your conversion rate with these individuals. So thank you, John Hoffman, for being with us again. Thank you, Sherranda Ivey, for being with us. So all of you guys, any field traders that's here with us, and all of you other faithful, committed weekly for, 3 years or something we've been doing this. Thank you guys for sticking with us and being on here. We look forward to seeing you guys next week. Close the month strong. It's the last day of the month, so get everything closed, get all your business in. Make sure you have a good rest of your evening, and we look forward to seeing you guys in the month of February. Everybody have a good night.
Good night.
Good
Thank
night,
you. Have a good
everybody.
night.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.
Night, everybody.
Good
Thanks,
night.
everyone.
Good night,
Good night,
everyone.
everybody. We'll see you next week and/or see you on a Saturday.
For
See you,
sure.
Lord willing, next week.
Night.
Awesome.
Have a good week.
Good night.
Peace.